Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. Enlightening text 18, text 19 and text 20 of chapter 10. Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions of second canto, the cosmic manifestation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Text 18. Mukhatastalu nirbhinnam jivva tatropajayate tato nana raso jadne jivvaya yo adhigamyate. From the mouth the palate became manifested, and thereupon the tongue was also generated. After this all the different tastes came into existence so that the tongue can relish them. This gradual process of evolution suggests the explanation of the controlling deity is Adhidaiva, because Varun is the controlling deity for all relishable juices. Therefore, the mouth becomes the resting place for the tongue, which tastes all the different juices, of which the controlling deity is Varun. This suggests therefore that Varun was also generated along with the development of the tongue. The tongue and the palate, being instrumental, are Adhibhutam or forms of matter, but the functioning deity, who is a living entity, is Adhidaiva, whereas the person undergoing the function is Adhyatma. Thus, the three categories are also explained as to their birth after the opening of the mouth of the Virata Purusha. The four principles mentioned in this verse serve to explain the three main principles, namely the Adhyatma, Adhidaiva, and Adhibhutam, as explained before. Text 19. Vivakshora mukhato bhumno vahanirvaga vyarutam tayoh jale chaitasya suchiram nirodhah samajayata. When the Supreme desired to speak, speeches were vibrated from the mouth. Then the controlling deity fire was generated from the mouth. But when he was lying in the water, all these functions remained suspended. The peculiarity of the gradual development of the different senses is simultaneously supported by their controlling deities. It is to be understood, therefore, that the activities of the sense organs are controlled by the will of the Supreme. The senses are, so to speak, offering a license for the conditioned souls who are to use them properly under the control of the controlling deity deputed by the Supreme Lord. One who violates such controlling regulations has to be punished by degradation to a lower status of life. Consider, for example, the tongue and its controlling deity Varun. The tongue is meant for eating, and men, animals, and birds each have their different tastes because of different licenses. The taste of human beings and that of the swine are not on the same level. The controlling deity, however, awards or certifies a particular type of body when the particular living entity develops a taste in terms of different modes of nature. If the human being develops taste without discrimination, as does the swine, then the controlling deity is certainly certified for the next term to award him the body of a swine. The swine accepts any kind of foodstuff, including stools, and a human being who has developed such indiscriminate taste must be prepared for a degraded life in the next life. Such a life is also God's grace, because the conditioned soul desired a body like that for perfectly tasting a particular type of foodstuff. If a man gets the body of the swine, it must be considered the grace of the Lord, because the Lord awards the facility. After death, the next body is offered by superior control, not blindly. A human being therefore must be on his guard as to what sort of body he is going to have in the next life. An irresponsible life of indiscrimination is risky, and that is the declaration of all scriptures. Text 20. Nasike nirbhidyetam dodhuyati nabhaswati tatra vayura gandhavaho granonasi jigrukshataha. Thereafter, when the Supreme Purush desired to smell odors, the nostrils and respiration were generated, the nasal instrument and odors came into existence, and the controlling deity of air, carrying smell, also became manifested. The nasal instrument, odors, and the controlling deity, air, smelling, etc., all became manifested simultaneously when the Lord desired to smell. The Vedic mantras confirm this statement in the Upanishads statement that everything is first desired by the Supreme before the subordinate living entity can act upon it. The living entity can see only when the Lord sees. The living entity can smell when the Lord smells, and so on. The idea is that the living entity cannot do anything independently. He can simply think of doing something independently, but he cannot act independently. This independence in thinking is there by the grace of the Lord, but the thinking can be given shape by the grace of the Lord, and therefore the common saying is that man proposes and God disposes. The whole explanation is on the subject of the absolute dependence of the living entities and absolute independence of the Supreme Lord. Less intelligent persons claiming to be on an equal level with God must first prove themselves to be absolute and independent, and thus they must substantiate their claim to being one with God. Hari Krishna.